Okay, it's Mark coming to you from Baker's Green Acres, and I am on to the next phase of this operation out in my grow field. All right, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this. I'm doing it a little bit different. This is the field that the pigs are on, obviously. Beautiful night out. It's just past sundown. And this is the field that I need to plant. So I did run the rototiller through here. Okay, so that's how it looks. But I didn't do any defoliating or anything like that. And what that is when they'll come through a field and they'll spray it, it will kill everything, and it makes it easier to defoliate. You don't have to do that when you're doing this, because these pigs are going through and they're taking every root, every plant, everything. They're working it over. So they did that in this field, and then I went through it with a rototiller, and I did get a question like, hey, why the rototiller? You may wonder why someone would say, hey, why the rototiller? Well, amongst organic growers, there's a notion that rototilling disturbs the ecosystem and kills a lot of bacteria. And I used to be in that camp. I'm not really there anymore, or I don't think it's imperative not to use the rototiller. So I got me a good rototiller and I used the rototiller. Plus, you know, when you get a new piece of equipment, you like to use it. So when I get done rototilling this, it takes me about 15 or 20 minutes. It looks like this. I mean, that is really nice looking if you're into dirt. And then I seeded it with this. You've seen these. It's got the crank on the side. You wear it over your shoulder and you crank it. You put the seeds in it and it throws the seeds out. And question of the day is going to be, gee, what'd you plant it with? Well, here's the bag that I had. And you see the labels? They were sitting in the greenhouse and they got bleached out, and I couldn't tell what it was. But I know they were small seeds, and it's sort of like a turnip seed or a radish seed. So I figured good enough, and it was about the right pounds, I think. So I just spread them out. And with really small seeds like that, what I like to do is mix in a bigger seed that I can see. And then it gives me like a point of reference. So I mixed in pumpkin seeds, and pumpkin seeds cost you nothing. If you have one pumpkin, you pull the seeds out, you dry them, that's your seeds for the next year. It costs you nothing. I mean, very little. So let's see, it's August. It's late in August, it's past the 15th, I believe. Pumpkins, they'll germinate. They'll run probably, but I don't think we're going to get really great pumpkins. It's a little late, but we'll see. We'll see. You never know. I'm not going to lose anything by doing this. You know, the pumpkin vines, pigs will still eat it. So that's what I did. Now, what I'm going to do different this time is I spread the seeds, and then I want to put down some compost. So here's my compost spreader. It's got this door on it. I know people made fun of me for this, but it's got this door on it, and I can put an entire yard of compost in there, and it is full. And then I put a rod across there, and it's got all these holes that I put in it with a oxygen acetylene torch. And as this rolls, I'll hook it to the tractor here. I've shown this before, but for anybody new, I'll hook this to the tractor. And then as I pull this around, it deposits compost. And because of the holes in this tank, they look like polka dots all out here. And this tank is heavy, and it's basically a roller, and it will roll all of my seeds just below the surface of the top of the soil. So they're going to be just in the soil. And the last time I did this, it worked out really well, but the last time I did it, I did not put compost in it. It was on a really rainy day, and it wasn't going to do me any good because the compost was soaked. It was just coming out of winter, and it wasn't going to do me any good. But it did push the seeds in, and that's really what I'm after, just to get seeds in. A lot of times when I seed a field, it brings the birds in. But whatever these seeds are, the birds aren't too interested. And it could be because my bird feeders are full. That could be the reason why. But they haven't come in and bothered it today. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to hook this up and run around real quick. I'll be putting out a yard of compost on about a third of an acre here. And, you know, every little bit helps. There's other ways to put compost out. If I had a different means of putting it out so I could put out more, I would, because I make a lot of compost. I have 3 piles going now, and I had to take off of one of my not so good piles because my good pile, something germinated on that looks sort of like a pumpkin, and it's really run well, and I don't have the heart to break it up. So I'm gonna use the compost from one of my more junior piles. It's not completely done, but it's okay, it still helps. Spreading compost. Okay, when you spread compost, you want to do it in the cool of the day. If the sun's still up, it's okay, but if it's directly above you and it's really, really bright, compost is full of bacteria. And the survivability of that bacteria is paramount. We want those bacteria to make it. If we spread it when it's really, really hot and dry, a lot of the bacteria will die. And you don't want that. You want your bacteria to survive the best you can. That's why you'll use things like biochar, and then try to spread it at this time of day when it's cool. This method is really good because we're going to get a little dot of compost from the spreader, and then the tank is going to push that in, right? So it's going to commingle it with the soil that's already here. It's going to get it down low. The bacteria actually is going to run from the hot sun. It's going to go deep if it can to get out of the hot sun. I had a mosquito bite me. All right, so this is a good method to put it down, and I think we get a lot of it that survives. If you had an array that was just going to, you know, mist it out like you do with a manure spreader, it's not so good. It's not so good because it spreads it out and it dries it out. So this is kind of why we went with this design, and so far it's worked pretty good. I've spread lots and lots of compost with it. Okay, anyone can farm.